I can't imagine doing the show with any other actors. It's the right people at the right time for the right show.
Having trust with everyone involved is definitely paramount.
We're all constantly delving into really uncomfortable material. We've had to take a lot of pauses, like I said. We've all cried at rehearsals and then at home separately.
This is definitely not a show I would want to do with just anybody. And also as the producer, I picked people that I wanted in these positions because of how well they could connect to each other and to the characters and how open and honest they could be.
I think it would be very, very challenging to do this show with a different team. I am so grateful, especially for Zach as a scene partner. We're very open and honest, and this is something we started last summer in our communication, but it had to come into this show. Knowing when to push a moment and when to just back off and know that the other one needs space. And I think that luckily he and I are very in sync with those moments in one another, and we know when to touch that raw emotion and when to just give it its own space to breathe. And that's been huge because, like I said, there are so many moments in this show that are so real.
I feel like every director always has to say, I have the perfect team, but I, again, do. I have had in the past, but I have the perfect team for this show. I can't imagine it doing it with anyone else. I'm very grateful that Zach approached me and felt that I could lend something to this material as a director.
So I have worked with Zach just once before. We were in the Rivalry at Lincoln Amphitheater last summer. We realized throughout the process of that summer that we work very similarly. We prepare characters in very similar ways. A lot of our methods, a lot of our prep work really complement one another very well. And so it was very exciting to have the opportunity to think of getting to work with him again and to build. Last summer was so drenched in research, so much research, but here we're starting from scratch really and just using our own backgrounds to create these characters. I think that's been a really fun challenge.
I'll be honest, like when I came on and saw okay, well, Zach and Molly are who I've worked with before, which is much more dynamic and nuanced than that first time. I always prefer recollaborations. I always feel like the first time you work with somebody intimately, you're really trying to figure out that shorthand and how to communicate and how to push each other without to pull out what's best for the show without hitting a wall.
I was singing Zach's praises earlier because I said, you are one of the most hardworking, dependable actors that I know, and like friends and humans. Just watching him work on the show with the passion he brings to everything he does just is amazing. And I could say the same thing about Molly. The last time we worked together, she was choreographer and I was a dancer in a show. She is just so lovely to watch, and to see her thinking through the scenarios that her character has to go through. I love to watch her think. And I love to watch Zach and Molly work together as actors in this play because they're so smart and they're so talented.
And Molly, Molly is wonderful. Molly and I go to some places that aren't very comfortable, and sometimes my heart actually breaks for her in the middle of the scene, and it's really hard to get through. And she does it wonderfully, expertly, and also she picks me up sometimes too. I mean, it's hard to get through these things alone, and I'm glad she's the one that's going on this dive with me.
I love everybody that's working on this, and it's just witnessing magic every day.
Zach and Molly are such dynamic, nuanced, authentic performers. There's been so many moments where I completely forget that I'm watching actors act. I forget that I'm watching friends, and I just see the characters. They disappear into them. There's that moment that the fiction becomes honest. That just has to happen when the needle's in the groove and the actors are doing their thing. Like that magic is the best kind of magic to me.